Hi, today I would like to talk about a simple probability problem, but it has a detail which is not so obvious. This problem was invented by a famous English author called Lewis Carroll. According to Lewis Carroll, when he goes to bed, sometimes his mind gets deviated into thinking about unholy thoughts, skeptical thoughts, blasphemous thoughts, thoughts against religion. To deviate his mind from such thoughts, he would think of max problems, and he calls such problems as pillow problems. One such problem is the probability problem that I'm going to explain right now, and he invented this problem on 8 September 1887 while lying on his bed. The problem goes like this. There is a bag in which there is a ball. It is known that the color of the ball inside the bag is either red or green, but no one knows exactly what the color is. So at this stage, the probability of the color of the ball inside the bag being red or green is 50%. But then an experiment is performed. There is a red ball that is taken, it is external to the bag, and it is put into the bag. So now there are two balls in the bag, and randomly one picks up one ball and finds that he has a red ball. With one ball remaining in the bag, has the probability of the ball being of either red or green color changed, or has it remained same? That is the big question. I would say that the probability of the ball being of either color, red or green, has changed. Formerly it was 50%. The probability that it was red is 50%, green is 50%, 50-50 chance. But now I would say that the probability of the ball being of a red color is higher than it being of green color. Just because one has put a red ball inside it and on random pick finds that he gets a red ball, the probability of the color of the ball inside the bag has changed. And this is the not so obvious insight I was talking about when I said it was a simple problem, but it has an insight. Let's see how the probability had changed after the experiment of putting the red ball and taking it out had occurred. Firstly, let us assume that out of the ball being red or green, let us assume that there is a red ball even before the experiment. Now you know for sure that there are two balls in the bag and both are red balls. And if you pick up the first ball, you're left with a red ball. If you pick up the second ball, you're left with a red ball. So after the experiment is conducted, there are two ways in which the ball in the bag can be red. Now let us debunk the earlier assumption that the ball in the bag was red even before the experiment was performed. Now let us say that the ball in the bag is green. If you were to now perform the experiment of taking a red ball and putting it in the bag, there'll be two balls in the bag, and now you're interested in only that outcome where you pick up the red ball. So once you pick up the red ball, there is only a green ball in the bag, and this outcome favors the presence of a green ball in the bag consisting of one ball. Out of all the outcomes where you have picked up the red ball, there are two outcomes where you will find that there is a red ball in the bag, and there is one outcome where you'll find that there is a green ball in the bag. So therefore, after performing the experiment of putting in a red ball and picking it out of three ways, the two ways favor the outcome that there is a red ball in the bag. So if you do the probability of finding a red ball after performing the experiment has become 66%. Before performing the experiment, the probability of finding a red ball, as we have thought, was 50%. Now it has risen to 66.66%. And similarly, out of the three outcomes where you have picked up a red ball on random selection, there is only one outcome where it is possible that there is a green ball in the bag. So the probability of finding a green ball in the bag after performing the experiment is 1 by 3 is 33.33%. Formerly, before performing the experiment, as we have discussed, it was 50%. And now it has come down to 33.33%. So what all this shows is, just by merely adding the red ball and taking out the red ball had changed the probability of finding a red ball. It has risen the probability from 50% to 66.66%, and had reduced the probability of finding the green ball from 50% to 33.33%. So I thought that it is not intuitive to think that the probability can increase and decrease in such a manner. And that's why I selected to talk about this problem. Hopefully, just like Lewis Carroll did, you would also think about this problem before going to bed tonight.